Hello community! Today we talk about a big fish and what's going on in open source AI. Now you might say, what the heck is going on? Why is here corporate AI world, Meta and IBM, forming a new AI alliance against what, for what, what's happening? And today, December 6th, you read here that here this corporate executive told the other corporate executive, hey, Facebook and Instagram could go extinct if you stay in your metaverse, so we have to do something to catch up with ChatGPT. And if you're interested in the real story, there's the New York Times for you. So we have now, starting today, a new global AI alliance under the umbrella, under the leadership of Meta. And you might say, why do we need this? And we go here, Business Insider, and there we have our corporate executive, and he tells us, hey, in the future, where the AI systems are poised to constitute the repository of all human knowledge and all human culture, we need the platforms to be open source and freely available so that everyone can contribute to them. And the statement goes on and says, hey, openness is the only way to make AI platforms reflect the entirety of human knowledge and culture. And you say, my goodness, this global corporate executive has a heart of gold and he cares about here mankind. So isn't that heartwarming statement? And you say, hey, wait a second, hold on. So how does this company, Meta, Facebook 2.0, make money? And it generates most of its revenue from selling advertising space. So this is not an AI company. This is an selling advertising space company that just uses AI as a platform. So you say, interesting. That's an interesting statement. So does this statement here by the corporate executive for AI of this global corporation serve a strategic business goal? Or is it just a man with a heart of gold? And you say, well, in the research community, remember here the transparency index of AI by Stanford University, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Princeton University. And you remember October 19, when we all started to laugh in the AI research community, when we got the result that Meta with Lama is the most transparent AI system on the globe, followed only here in the top 3 by OpenAI GPT-4. And you might say in the research community, excuse me, nur eine ganz kleine Frage zwischendurch. Are you sure OpenAI GPT-4 is the top 3 most transparent AI system on this planet? Because I know GPT-4 as a completely locked up, closed proprietary AI system. Yeah, you see, there's this is the wording of the AI research community. And then we have corporate AI, the business AI sector. And the business AI sector is fighting for future revenues, for future profits. And if it wants to influence here the public opinion, it has complete different goals than we have as a research community. So let's have a look at this. A beautiful example. The information.com, beware of fear-mongering in AI Regulation. Meta scores another point for open source from August 2023. And you see, because Meta is here the most transparent system here in the world, the media who are not part of the AI research community and are not doing AI fine-tuning and AI DPOs, they say, hey, Meta scores another point for the open source. So why the heck is this company trying to influence here the public opinion using open source, what they want to achieve? Okay, before we answer this, let's see how far ahead is Meta in AI. We noticed it is an advertising selling company, not an AI company, contrary to its marketing. So how far ahead is Meta? So here we are now at Hugging Face, Meta, the Lama model, the official Meta model, Llama 2, the 7 billion free trainable parameter model. And as you can see, as you want to access here this open source model, you get a form to enable access to Llama 2 on Hugging Face after you have been granted access from Meta. So you have to ask permission from Meta as an individual person. So you have, please visit the Meta website and accept our license terms. And if you are a lawyer, you will enjoy this session and acceptable use policy before submitting this form. And then the request will be processed within 1 or 2 days. And they say, hey, your Hugging Face account email must match the email you provide on the Meta website, or your request will not be approved. So this means Meta has absolute control who is using here this particular Llama 2 7B model. Now, if we go to the Meta website like I do, and you have to allow cookies, and I say no, so I have the first name, date of birth, email, country, organization, and my university affiliation. And then you have to select here the models you would like to have access to. And yes, yes, yes. And then you read here all the prohibited use. And of course, this is interesting. And when I applied it, I was asked also to provide my scientific publication to Meta. And Meta decided, after receiving all my personal information, that it will allow me here to access this open source model by Meta. And I was so happy, I can tell you. So this is here Meta's open source interpretation. Now, let's see at the current performance. Where is Meta Llama 2 7B today? Now here we go to Hugging Face Spaces and to the open source large language leaderboard. And what we do, we select here one test. And this is here highly non-scientific because I do not go for average. I do not go for all the other test modules that we have. I just go for the true full question and answer test. And as you can see, I limit here myself to the 7 billion parameter class. I want to compare here my Llama model, my Llama 7B model here, only to the same class. So let's go here for the official declaration where they say it. Here, our true full question and answer benchmark here. And we have here the Llama 2 7B, and we have a score of 33.3. Easy to remember, 33.3. So where is Llama 2 7B from Meta today? And we only check here the open source contribution from the open source research community on AI model. So activate truthful, only the 7B class. And you think, wow, Meta will it still be heading here the list? And we go here and I have it here in order. So you see here, those are the actual models here of December 6th, 2023. And we have here 65. And I say, my goodness, this is almost double from 33.3. So I say, but yeah, wait, Meta will come up immediately. Wait a second. Yeah, just wait a second, because Meta is here one of the leaders here of open source. So now this, what you see, are all contribution from the open source research community that are all significantly better than Meta's Llama 2 7B model. Yeah, just wait for it. No, it can't be long because, this is just open source. So they are not having thousands, tens of thousands of researchers working for Meta or Facebook or whatever you like to call it. So wait, we are almost there. So those models are all better than Meta. So Meta is maybe currently not. So, okay, let's scroll down to the very last. Yeah, very last, beautiful. So here we have 0, 0, 0, and the worst model is 30. But we have 33. So, hey, here we are. Here, this would be now the Meta. And since Meta Llama 2 7B is not an open source, you see, we do not have it here on the open source leaderboard. But just to give you an idea, if we go down here to the very last here, we have the 33.3 here. It would fit in beautifully. So this is the current performance of the latest official Meta thing that you have to ask here the permission by Meta. And after providing here all your personal data, you get access to this model. And this is the current performance. Just to have an actual current performance benchmark but only limited to one benchmark, which is not in a scientific way. This should just give you a feeling if you say, hey, if we talk about truthful answer, where is Llama 2 today? Now, with this understanding, let us here visualize the AI ecosystem as of December 2023. The most important fish in the pond is OpenAI. And OpenAI has a little brother. This is this nice, charming little fellow here. And you know this fellow because you have it on your Windows machine. And now you know what it is. And I think it's a love-hate relationship between those two. And then, trailing behind, in this AI ecosystem representation of the performance of AI system, and since Google here postponed its new competitor to ChatGPT 4 for 2023, and it says it will be released somewhere at the beginning of 2024, so Google is trailing behind. And here you have it. These are the main inhabitants of the AI ecosystem. No, because here, the little clownsfish, this is Meta. And now Meta, realizing its position, realizing that in the world of platform technologies, Facebook 2.0, WhatsApp, and so, it is maybe the number one, but in the AI ecosystem, it is positioned here. So, some clever strategists and Meta try to reposition itself in the AI ecosystem. So let's have a look. Yesterday, yes, and everything is happening today or yesterday, December 5th, 2023, MIT in the technology review tells us here, hey, make no mistake, AI is owned by big tech. And everything else is second to big tech. And there was a sentence by MIT, and it says, hey, Meta's lobbying to exempt the open source AI from basic accountability obligations. And I thought, what? And then I understood why Meta is trying to move so hard to position itself in the open source AI area, that Meta is open source, because it is lobbying the US government to have basic accountability obligations for all the other market players, Microsoft, Google, and you name it, but not for Meta, because Meta is suddenly under this beautiful umbrella of open source AI. And suddenly we have a strategic vector where we say, interesting positioning. And I followed the link by MIT because I thought maybe MIT is a little bit polarized. Could that be? And they have here the link. United States Senate, the Select Committee on Intelligence. Okay, hello Senate. And there we have again this corporate executive from this global corporation on AI. And here you have the official redacted and optimized version here. And go there, read it. This is here the HTTPS link. And then you understand that MIT says, hey, Meta is lobbying to exempt here the open source AI, and it means here its own open source AI models, from basic accountability obligation. But all the other AIs should be enforced to respect the basic accountability obligations. So, nice move, Meta. Nice move. And thank you, MIT, for pointing this out. Because honestly, in the AI research community, I don't care what happens in the US Senate on intelligence. But now it becomes clear to me. And since I still don't believe that this is a real sentence, Meta lobbying to exempt open source AI from basic accountability is horror, because so whatever is open source has no accountability at all. I mean, this is plain stupid. Okay. So what they are trying to do now in the business world, they are asking for a governmental fisher net to restrict something from moving ahead, too fast ahead. A fisher net of holding back a big fish. So this openness, as is referred here in the AI, in the corporate political sense of this representative, of this global executive representative, when he is lobbying here in front for national regulations by national governments, we understand that the term openness in AI is now something completely different what we as a research community in AI would say is valid. Because now what this little clownfish achieves here, referring here in the business sector of America, that the US government is setting up here let's call it restrictive fisher net to hinder the movement of AI leaders. So that this little clownfish has time when those competitors are blocked to move ahead with its own agenda and become strong and move forward. This is an interesting thing to view from Europe, what's going on here in US politics. And I never thought I would talk about US politics, about AI, but interestingly, so if we talk about the AI ecosystem, this is not what the AI ecosystem in the West Coast in America looks like. This is what is currently, beginning of December 23, happening here in the debate of open source AI and what is going on. Now, this MIT review keeps on giving because MIT say, hey, open source AI, this is an ill-defined term. And you have everything from Meta's, and now prepare to be shocked, comparatively closed Llama 2. So MIT tells, hey, Meta's AI systems are comparatively closed and would not qualify here in the science community as an open source model. And you might go, I am shocked about this. To Euler's maximal, really open video series, everything is under this umbrella. And global corporations have the money and the power to redefine whatever you might think of it. So, but most important, and this is now the fascinating thing, is there is not yet a clear business model outside of increasing here the cloud profits for the big tech companies by bundling here AI services with cloud infrastructure. And in my next video, I will talk to you about the state of AI at the first quarter of 2024, and what you, as a member of the AI community, of the research community, what new options you will have at the beginning of 2024. But this will be in a follow-up video. Now we just focus here that MIT tells us, hey, the whole AI big business community is missing a clear business model. And you might say, hey, wait a minute, Microsoft told us it is using Microsoft Bing and Microsoft Bing Professional and Microsoft Bing Chat Enterprise here to enter here the Google-dominated desktop search engine worldwide market for advertising and crush Google with its new Microsoft Bing, whatever it is called now. And here you see now the last 12 months, going back to October 2022. This is, in blue, you have Google. Google's market share on the global search engine worldwide market for ads. Let me tell you, if you take this point and you go to this point, I would say there is hardly any movement. Maybe there's a little bit of a downturn here, but otherwise here, Google maintained its position. On the other side, here in black, we have Microsoft. Microsoft Bing Chat, Enterprise Plus, whatever. Now we take this point here in October 2022. I would say this is hardly any movement at all, any uptick, maybe a touch of an uptick. But so this business strategy to enter here the search engine market with Bing Chat clearly failed for Microsoft. But in management, in innovation here, we have the term of moving target. So let's move on to another target. Let me give you another example. Amazon. And I think Amazon is a fascinating company in this respect because we all know Amazon Web Services, AWS, and they have struck a deal here with Anthropic, with Claude 2, to invest $4 billion in the company, which company has also pledged to use now Amazon in-house AI chips, Trainium, to optimize here their new and upcoming large-scale AI model LLMs and VLM. So you have here this cooperation where Amazon is producing AI chips, investing in other companies, and those companies says, hey, for your investment, of course, we are happy to use your compute infrastructure and maybe not a competitor infrastructure. But this also goes on to complete nations. And again, thanks to MIT here, this example brought to you by MIT. Microsoft's latest move is here to move to the UK. And last week, it announced here that it will have here a £2.5 billion investment in building here the cloud infrastructure for the United Kingdom, for the nation. And this is a move lauded by the Prime Minister, who has clearly signaled his ambitions to build a homegrown AI sector in the UK as his primary legacy. So we have here the, let's say, ego of a beautiful Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And he wants to build his primary legacy, and he sees that the next economic trend here for the UK might be to have a strong AI sector in the United Kingdom. And now one company is building out here the cloud infrastructure on a national level. And he visibly supports this. You know, there's only one tiny little insignificant fact you should also know, as pointed out by MIT, that currently there's an ongoing investigation by the United Kingdom's official national competition regulators following, and now I have to quote here MIT, called out concerns registered by a range of market participants regarding Microsoft anti-competitive behavior. But hey, I'm sure this is just the government arguing with the government, so nice move, Microsoft, to build here a national cloud infrastructure for Microsoft, on Microsoft, with Microsoft. Okay, let's talk about something that is really interesting for us as a community, MLX. Now, hardware, compute hardware is always a limitation, especially if you want to run it locally in your company, or even if you want to, as a coder, want to experience this, or you have sensitive data that you don't trust here the cloud services. Let's make here a recommendation for another YouTuber. I like this video. This is by Techno Premium YouTuber, and he bought an M3 Max 128GB shared GPU memory, and he performed some benchmarks on the Llama 2 model on the 70 billion model. And he compared this to an NVIDIA 4090. And if you think a 4090 is top-notch, have a look at this video. It is amazing how an M3 crushes a 4090. The software he uses, and this is important, and I also have here 2 days ago on my community tab in my channel, if you go there, I told you about LLama. And a brand new software here for running inference here on your local machine. Simple API for this task, pre-built, beautiful. So we have now for the Mac an alternative to the pure C++ implementation on Apple. You know, the good old grandfather for Mac is Llama C++. This is, you can run everything, almost everything on this on your Mac if you know C++, if you really want to code this, or if you are more in a no-coder group, you can have here LM Studio, just one of the multiple platforms you can download here for your M1, M2, or M3 Mac chip, or you go here for Windows, or you go here for a Linux distro, and beautiful, and you can run the inference over there. Or you had LLama. This YouTuber, as I just showed you, chose this particular because he says it's really fast. And in his video, he has here a live performance test of the RTX 4090, of the M1 Pro with only 16GB of shared VRAM. But of course, the most important part is here the new M3 Max with 128GB of shared CPU, GPU memory. And it is amazing when the 4090 stops working and the M3 Max just powers ahead and crushes here the 4090. Yeah, of course, the 4090 has 24 gigabytes of RAM, and the M3 Max has up to, if you can afford to pay, 6,000 euro for this machine. And I would love to be in a position to get my hands on one of this machine, but unfortunately, I do not have the money to make this investment. So we have now a new infrastructure compute platform on Apple Silicon coming up that is crushing it. But up until now, we had either you go here with the C++ implementation and you miss out on the beautiful PyTorch and everything we have. But today, December 6, 2023, Apple open sources its MLX, its machine learning framework, optimized for Apple Silicon. Can you imagine this? Optimized for an M3 chip, the machine learning framework. And it includes the best parts of PyTorch and NNN. So let's have a look at this. This is brand new. MLX, a framework for Apple Silicon, machine learning research on your laptop or in a data center, if you put multiple of them, by Apple. Finally, we have a native solution for machine learning optimization on Apple Silicon. It is the first day, so do not expect perfect performance. But my goodness, top languages, C++ and Python. Go there, read about this. Machine learning on Apple Silicon, by Apple, for Apple. You have your Python API that closely follows NumPy. You have a fully featured C++ API, the Python API. You have higher level packages, your libraries here that you know here, including the optimizers and. You have even dynamic graph construction. You have here automatic differentiation, automatic vectorization. It's so beautiful. Computation graph optimization. My goodness. And of course, they give you here the Python program so you can run this in a demonstration. And here, I would love to execute this, but yeah, okay, I can't. There's the LoRa implementation, the low rank adaptation from our PAFT methodology. If you cannot afford a full fine-tuning because of memory limitation, you run here the parameter efficient fine-tuning version with LoRa, and they have here complete programs optimized for the M3 chip here in the MLX framework for Apple, by Apple. Isn't that something beautiful that is coming up here at the beginning of 2024? And now you know that here in my depiction of the AI ecosystem, with here Meta, our little clownsfish, that now we have a new player. We have NVIDIA entering here the ecosystem. And NVIDIA is joining here the Meta AI Alliance because NVIDIA says, hey, wait a second, we are here the producer of AI, A100, H100, or H200 data center GPUs. And now Apple is beating us in our own game. Hey, stop. Hey, we have now joined Meta's AI Alliance officially for the safety and the openness of future AI system. And they can just rush ahead and do their thing and become here the dominant market player. Hey, wait a second. So I hope you enjoyed this. And I have to say, a rather personal view when I read here yesterday and today here also the current attempts of corporate AI world to form alliances, to influence media, to communicate certain statements about the safety and the openness of AI when they found themselves in a position, as I illustrate here, in this little visualization of the big fish in the pond of the AI ecosystem. It would be great to see you in one of my next videos.